Welcome back, everybody, to another wonderful episode of the Any Given Day podcast. I'm Zach. That's Hunter. We're going to hop right into it today. First off, sorry we've missed the last week. Some stuff came up. So we got a little bit of news that's a little older, but we're still going to cover it very quickly. First up, Boise State had a little, their head coach Spencer Danielson had quite a comment. I respect it, but quite a comment. He's announced that incoming freshmen will be banned from taking NIL money their first season. Quoting here, if you're looking for the easy way and you're looking for a handout, don't come to Boise State. That's via On3. Honestly, I get it. You know me. I think NIL's getting out of hand. But definitely not the way to get recruits to come to Boise State.
Yeah.
Definitely not the way to get recruits to come to Boise State, but I get it. You're trying to stand your ground. You're the only guy standing your ground, so it took some cojones to get on there and say. But I think it's definitely it's a comment. I don't know if it's going to help him at all.
Yeah, he's very vocal about it, which is honestly a good thing because it goes ahead and it lets like all these like recruits know, like, look, if I wind up there, I'm not going to get paid the first year, which is respectable that they're just being upfront, like, and look, do not come here expecting NIL immediately. You're going to have to, that will be like, you'll still get like your tuition and you'll probably get a stipend as well. The standard stuff that you were supposed to get for the longest time, but do not come here expecting NIL immediately. You will not get it. 1 year, 12 months,
Yeah.
before we can even think about doing that. That way you can earn it. And that's how it should be. Because how many, look at what happened with JT Daniels, right? And I'm not throwing shade at him. I'm absolutely not. This is a dude who transferred multiple times, right? And once again, sometimes you have to do that. Not a knock on him. Everything I've heard, great teammate.
Yeah.
But went so far as to sign an NIL deal with Panini as soon as these things became legal, right? And was very much openly stating and did split all the money from that with his teammates. All of them. That's cool as crap, right?
Yep.
But also look at the fact that he started one game for Georgia that year. And what happened after that? He got injured because of an oblique injury, I think, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And he did not start another game. Stetson Bennett took the reins, and he did not let go for 2 years. So you have to look at it that way. And so, like, all these kids, they're going in and they're fully expecting, if they go into Boise State, they know what's happened. We're not getting an NIL deal. I'm going there because I feel like that is the best place for me to get developed, best place for me to go. Which is also smart because that also kind of probably saves them NIL money for transfers. So
yeah,
I do agree with you that NIL's gotten out of hand though. So, but
yeah,
that's really all I got on it.
Yeah, I agree. So Hunter, you want to sip on some gin and juice?
Not a big gin guy, honestly.
Not no me either. But
then,
you know who
then
is?
again, I've never had gin and juice, so I mean,
I haven't. It's not that great. But you know who is a big gin and juice guy?
Dre.
Snoop Dogg and Dre. Because Snoop Dogg and Dre's gin and juice drink is going to be sponsoring the Arizona Bowl this year. It'll be the first bowl game ever sponsored by an alcoholic brand. It's crazy. What does this world come to? We got alcoholic drinks.
I guess
sponsoring
they
bowl
find.
games.
I guess they find. I guess the Arizona Bowl finally had enough of Big Cat singing the national anthem. Because as much as they want to claim that as much as Barstool wants to claim that he has the voice of an angel,
Does not.
he's average.
He's average. Yeah, it's not awful.
Just, I will miss Frank the Tank walking out the coin for the coin toss.
Frank the Tank. Good
But,
old Frank the Tank. Yeah, I mean,
but
in the grand scheme, this is cool though. Having
oh god,
Snoop Dogg, he's massive. Obviously, it's bringing in a whole new crowd. I mean, not that it's going to bring a crowd in because people aren't going to watch a bowl game, especially the Arizona Bowl, because Snoop Dogg's drink is a sponsor. But
Snoop
it's
Dogg's
cool.
Arizona Bowl presented by Gin and Juice by Snoop and Dre. I think is like the full title of it.
That's pretty cool. I mean, it's a cool name. It's a cool name. I don't hate it. Next up, Lenoris Snellers, class of 2023. He was the 95th national ranked 8th quarterback. Has been named as the starter for South Carolina after their spring practices. It's cool. I mean, I don't know who else they would have had. Obviously, losing Spencer Rattler, I don't know who else they really had on their roster.
Apparently, they thought, like, as soon as he got on campus and they started seeing him at practice and with the playbook and all that, they thought he was a dude, like, almost immediately. They thought he was a guy. So, we'll see. It's going to be interesting. The kid's relatively young. This is going to be his second year of college, so, hey, we'll see. I'm happy to see it. There's not much to say about that hasn't probably already been said by someone else at this point. Like we said earlier, we're getting on a few of these a bit late. Sucks, but is what it is. That things popped up, kind of out of our control.
Yeah, it happened. But congratulations to the kid. I mean,
yeah, congrats. You just got named the starting quarterback of a D1 program.
Yeah,
not just a D1 program, but an SEC program.
SEC,
that's a Power 5 program, buddy.
Absolutely, yeah. Congratulations.
As much as we like to go and give them crap, but still, congrats.
Next up, everybody's favorite quarterback, Shedeur Sanders, has dropped his first song. So apparently, listen, this might come off as ignorant. For a dude that claims he's going to be the number one pick in the NFL draft, shouldn't he be focusing on football?
You would think.
And perfecting his craft in football instead of making songs. Now, I get it. A lot of college football players make songs, and I'm fine with it. Express yourself however you want to. I get it. We're expressing ourselves right now, making podcast episodes talking about college football. That's how we express ourselves. If that's how he wants to express himself, go for it. I get it.
Like Sony Michel used to rap all the time, right?
Right.
Rodrigo Blankenship, a kicker, dropped a rap song at one point. There are a multitude of players who have gone and they've gotten into music and they've dropped music, which is great. I guess it's just the irony of all of this. Like, the timing, I feel, is very bad. Like, because it was released not that long after the entire debacle with the entirety of the mistreatment, and I use air quotations on that very lightly, the mistreatment of the former Colorado players that were, like, that article about the transfers and all of that. So, I mean, it's just, and not just that, but the name of the song, Perfect Timing.
Yikes.
Dropping that at the point that you did is just terrible timing. In fact, I'm sorry to say that The only thing that's going to be perfectly timed about that is the butt whooping you get on the field here in a few months for thinking you. I've listened to a bit of it.
Well, I mean, teach their own.
I mean, I got nothing against it, right? Kendrick, you were not, son. Like, just, buddy, you need to focus on the field stuff and and really stop focusing off the field. That's what's getting you in trouble so far.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. If he wants to focus on music and not football, it's his prerogative. I don't care either way. Next thing up. All right, this is gonna be big for some baseball fans out there. Marlins legend Monte Harrison, Marlins legend, has committed to Arkansas football as a walk-on. The 28-year-old Monte Harrison will be walking on to play football at Arkansas. I mean, cool. More power to him. Obviously, baseball didn't work out.
I mean, we say it didn't work out, but
he played in the majors for a couple of years.
Look, there's a reason why he's walking on. First and foremost, to the people who don't think he can just make this transition easily, this kid I say kid, he's like a year older than me. Yeah. This dude was a 4-star wide receiver coming out of high school. So he's got the background. But he got drafted to go and play baseball. So he's like, oh, I'm going to do this. And he did. And he made it up to the big leagues. And because he made it up to the big leagues, even if it was for that one day, I think the rule is if you make it up for one day, you get free health insurance for the rest of your life, right? But apparently it's more than that. Because the reason why he's walking on is because the MLB is paying for his tuition out of pocket. Because they have a rule where any former major league player who's made it up to the show, made it up to the actual majors, they will go and pay for their education. Their complete and full education. It really is. Like, people want to go and say some things about, oh, well, they're like with the CBAs and everything for different leagues. Right. I state, and I will gladly state this anytime it comes up. The NBA's player. So when it comes to collective bargaining agreements, the NBA's players have too much power. The NFL's players don't have enough power. The owners have too much power in that scenario. And then the MLB is kind of like the perfectly balanced one. Because the players are willing to go and do a lockout, right? Over things they truly are passionate about, but they're also like realistic enough to be like, well, we can concede this. As much as we would like it, we also know that's not realistic, and that's going to take certain aspects out of the game. So it's kind of a give that, like, they are the perfect balance. It is a give and take with them. Yeah, I truly do believe. But
yeah, I agree.
That's just an opinion. So I mean,
yeah. All right. Yeah. I mean, it was good for him. Honestly, go get your education. I can't blame him. It's awesome.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting though, seeing a 28 near 29-year-old out there trying to compete if he gets into an actual game. It'll be almost unfair.
I mean, it's a grown man against 18 and 19-year-olds.
Yeah.
20-year-olds. It's crazy.
Anyway.
All right. So the big thing for this episode, we're going to be giving our Big 12 way too early, I won't say way too early, but early preseason rankings. It's basically
our power rankings.
Post-spring power rankings. It's a power, just power rankings. So this is really just our kind of gut feelings on where we think, as of right now, each team sits in the Big 12. This is not necessarily where we think they're going to be ranked, where they're going to finish at the end of the year. This is just based off of post-spring, after spring practice, where we think they kind of sit in our minds. So I'll start us off. We're gonna flip flop back and forth. Oh, go ahead. What?
Just like you said, it's like you said. You're gonna start. We're gonna go back and forth. I just need to make one slight edit because if it's based on my gut, then I'm just gonna make one slight edit. Okay, there we go. Edit made.
All right. Number 16 for me.
Yep.
Number 16 for me. Cincinnati. I have Cincinnati at 16.
Not a fan of the Skyline Chili, are you?
Nope.
No. See, this is where that edit comes in. If we're going based off my gut alone right now, and it's not indicative of where we think where they'll actually finish, where we think they'll actually finish, then call me a certified hater. I got Colorado at 16. You can't do what they've done over the past few weeks, the past month or two, with all this crud about like where the coach is going after people online and players online over an article that was written about him. That basically called him out for not handling things the proper way, which he didn't. I'm sorry, that's more of a distraction right now, and if that kind of stuff heads up, maybe they get 5-6 wins if they've improved, but I still just...
Yeah.
They've got to play Utah, which is a rivalry game for them that they've been playing for the last decade and a half or so.
Yeah.
It's like historic rivalry. What was it called? The Rumble in the Rockies is what it's called, if I remember correctly.
Like that.
Yeah, good name. But you can't be doing this stuff and expect to go and beat Utah or any of these other teams. Get your head on straight and out your hindquarters, and maybe you might stand a chance.
Yeah. Number 15 for me, Houston.
Houston? Wow, that low.
Yeah.
Okay, at number 15, I have Cincinnati after my slight edit job, just to, put Colorado at the very bottom. Certified hater, Need a shirt that says that. Certified Colorado hater. Or certified insert team here hater. I'm coming up with ideas.
It's a good idea.
I'll put it on a shirt, baby. At 15, I have Cincinnati. Like I said, I've never had Skyline Chili, and I have a buddy who lives out in San Francisco now, who actually went up to school at Cincinnati. Love him, right? Known him since we were little kids. He was on my first football team with me. Was he? Or was that second football team with me? My bad. End of the day, though, Cincinnati hasn't really impressed me that much since Luke Fickell left. I love Scott Satterfield, but they haven't been the same since Fickell left. So we'll see, which it's only been a season, so maybe it'll take who knows, maybe they'll step up this year. We'll see.
Yeah. At 14, I have Arizona State. What?
Arizona State at 14?
Yep.
Wow.
Oh, they just lost Jaden Rashada, who was going to be the guy there this year. So now they got to transfer a quarterback.
I think you're looking down on Dillingham a little bit too much.
I mean, this is really his first real year.
Yeah.
I mean,
We'll see.
They could show prime. They could be really good. I'm just gut feeling based off of last year. I don't have a whole lot of faith. I like Kenny Dillingham, and I think he could turn them around. I just think right now, losing Jaden Rashada, having a transfer quarterback, more than likely having to rely on a transfer quarterback, I don't know. They could prove me wrong. Like I said, this is just gut feeling where I think they stand right now. I like Kenny Dillingham, though. I think he could definitely turn them around.
Okay, so at 14 for me, once again, because of this edit, I have Baylor. They just haven't been this. Once again, it's one of those things where it's just been like, it feels like they haven't been the same since Rule left. And I've heard lots of great things about their coach. I'm blanking on his name right now.
Dave Aranda.
Dave Aranda. But we've talked about this before. I'm starting to worry that, as good as Dave Aranda might be, that he might be a better coordinator overall than a head coach. Kind of like the Lincoln Riley situation, but the opposite side of the ball. So, yeah, I've got Baylor at 14.
Yeah. 13, I have Colorado. Obviously, they have Travis Hunter, probably the most electric guy in college football. That's the only reason I have them ahead of, the other three teams. I just think that Travis Hunter's a great player, and he can do a lot of stuff for them. So,
yeah, well,
I like that. I think it's a pretty good team, other than their offensive. Just the trenches for them is pathetic, almost.
Yeah. That all, or just
yeah.
Sorry if I felt like I'm forcing that. I don't know.
No, you're fine.
I'll 13 for me is going to be BYU. I just when was realistically the last time that you went and sat down and watched a BYU game?
I don't know if I ever have.
Basically, right? The only time I ever have was the first. Did they have a second one? I can't remember. Either way, the only time I can remember was during the COVID year when Mullets versus Mormons happened. Because that was just that was impromptu, electric matchup. It just came out of nowhere. They weren't originally scheduled to face each other. And then all of a sudden it was like, well, we don't have an opponent, and you don't have an opponent. And BYU was kind of like, well, I don't know if y'all actually want to play us. And Coastal Carolina's like, you calling us chickens? By all accounts, Coastal Carolina on like what? They both went into that game with 2 days of practice, 2 to 3 days of practice for that. That short of a notice, just so that they could go and have another game on their schedule, which was awesome, right? But you haven't heard about BYU that much since.
No.
So, they're 13 for me. I should have.
Yeah. 12, I got Baylor for pretty much the same reasons you had. And honestly, for Dave Aranda to be a really good defensive coach, their defense was like one of the worst in all of the FBS last year.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it was 123rd in yards per play. So this is going to be a make or break season for Dave Aranda. If they don't get something figured out, I don't know how much longer he's got. I mean, they're 2 years removed from winning the Big 12, and they've just had one of the worst defensive seasons ever with a defensive head coach. So,
yep. At 12 for me, I have Houston. Right, basically the same things that we've already said about Houston. I still do not get why Dana Holgorsen left West Virginia.
I don't know.
That is still just absolutely astounding to me, because I felt it was a step down then, and now you're back in the same conference. Like, what were you thinking? It didn't make sense then, doesn't make sense now, and I bet he regrets it. So, yeah.
Oh, they fired Dana Holgerson.
Oh, they fired Dana Holgerson?
Willie Fritz is a new head. Yeah, Willie Fritz is a new head coach.
Oh, yeah. Oh, dear Lord, out of Tulane. Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, did they? I don't know if they fired Dana Holgerson or if he left.
He probably was fired.
I think
because it was
right.
a disaster, man. It did not click over there. He should have stayed at West Virginia, and I will die on that hill.
Yeah.
Oh wow, we just how incompetent we.
I just got to thinking.
So
you said that, I went, is that?
Okay, well then, slight change. Houston, I'm still gonna have them 12 because it is Willie Fritz's first year, but Willie Fritz always did impress me over at Tulane. So who knows? Step up for him, right? So
yeah.
Here's the hoping that he can turn Houston around.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think it could be good for them. Who knows?
Hopefully.
11 for me. BYU. It's just one of those, kind of like you said. When's the last time you've actually watched a BYU game? They're not bad, but they're not great either. They're just kind of, they're there. Yeah.
Number 11 for me, TCU. It's kind of like one of those, when did you last watch a TCU game? The last time I really cared enough to even think about one was them versus Colorado opening week, and they lost. And that basically, I feel like that just gave Deion all the confidence in the world for this past saga. And started everything with Colorado. So,
yeah.
Haven't been the same since that natty.
No, they haven't. Number 10, TCU. So, I mean, I agree. It's the same stuff. They lost Dominic Williams to Oklahoma.
Yeah.
That really good defensive lineman. So, I mean, it's just kind of, they have not been the same since losing in the national championship.
No.
So,
the running gag for Georgia fans has always been, oh my gosh, we broke these teams. Because it happened with TCU, right? It happened with you had the year after Alabama, right? Then you had TCU. Then I think you also had Ohio State because Ohio State ended up losing to Missouri. So the running joke was, they broke these teams. I don't know how.
I think they really did break TCU.
They might have actually They might have legitimately broken TCU solely for the fact that they probably did not expect to lose the game. If they lost the game, they did not expect to lose it that badly. I still remember there was a tight end from TCU, Wiley something.
Jared Wiley.
I think he might have done an interview, or it might not have been him. It might have been another tight end for them. But he was doing an interview afterwards, and he was just like, we weren't ready. That's basically what he said. Like,
no.
It's crazy to think, but it happened that way. So, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Number 10 for me, gonna be Kansas. I just
really.
You haven't had them yet, so I mean, I'm not.
I know. I know.
So my whole thing with them is I don't want to put them up higher because their quarterback,
Jalen Daniels.
yeah, Jalen Daniels, he hasn't been healthy for a full season yet, man. When he's healthy, he's pretty electric. But just like he can't stay on the field. It sucks, man. He's really good. Very fun to watch. I don't get it, man. I don't get how he can't go and I don't get how he can't stay on the field. I know why, but still, man, it's rough, man.
Yeah.
But I really like Lance Leipold. I think he'll do a good job. I not just do a good job, but he's done a great job turning that program around. He's made it to where they're not such an easy win anymore, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I agree.
Boy. Who you got at number 9?
UCF. I hate UCF at 9. Obviously, with the addition of KJ Jefferson, that'll be big for them. They're obviously returning RJ Harvey.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it could be a really great season or a really bad season. Yeah, it's kind of middle of the pack.
Gus Malzahn, baby.
Yeah. Okay, get in a Gus bus.
Yep. Number 9 for me. I've already talked about it. We've already talked about them. Number 9 for me is Arizona State. I really like Dillingham as a head coach. Not just a head coach, but this is his alma mater. He's going to give it everything he's got. I think he's a pretty deadgum good offensive play caller. I think he's one of the better ones in the country. It's just realistically, if he can figure out that way to be a head coach. If he can do that, he could be a steal for kids. Or not Kansas, Arizona State. Sorry, it's late.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. I agree. Number 8, Texas Tech.
Lubbock.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's just, middle of the pack. It's just one of those, I don't love them, I don't hate them.
They're there.
They're there, yeah.
I'm a little bit higher on them, I think. But at number 8 for me, I've got West Virginia. Country roads, take me home.
Don't start singing.
No singing.
No.
Okay. They're one of those teams where even when it seems like they're out, they always somehow find a way to be in the top half of the conference. And one of the low-key better Big 12 teams, somehow, some way. They always do it, so I'm not gonna go and say they're gonna win the conference championship, but yeah, I think they'll be better than everyone else we've talked about so far. Almost everyone we've talked about so far.
Almost. Number 7, I got Iowa State. They're pretty much returning pretty much every starter on offense and defense. Historically, when Matt Campbell has that kind of experience on his roster, Iowa State's been pretty good. So, there's a good chance they could be decent. I don't know if they're going to win the pack, the Big 12, but I think they could compete. So,
yeah, okay, fair. Number 7 for me is Arizona. So I love Noah Fifita as a quarterback, and I think he will drag them to a certain amount of wins. But without Jed Fish, because of the incompetence of whether it was the athletic department or the actual board of trustees or whoever was in charge of Jed Fish's contract, them letting him walk was a terrible idea, and I will stand on that. So that's why they're not in the top 5. If it was Jedd Fisch and Noah Fifita still there, yes, top 5 team all day in the Big 12 power rankings. But no, so it's just Noah. Okay, top 7.
Yeah. Number 6, I got West Virginia. I mean, it's again veteran roster. Mm-hmm. It's just one of those that generally teams with a lot of veterans figure stuff out and have pretty good seasons. So,
without a doubt,
I like it.
So number 6 for me is going to be Texas Tech. We've basically already they're there somehow, some way. They'll find a way to either upset someone they shouldn't and still have a pretty average season. So 6, just for the possibility of the upset. Yeah.
Yep. Number 5. Podcast legend Noah Fifita in Arizona. I get Jedd Fisch leaving. Is Arizona going to be what they were last year or better without Jedd Fisch? I get that. I think they'll be fine. I like Jedd Fisch. I think he played a big part in it. But also like Brent Brennan. So I think they could. I think they could figure it out. They may be able to challenge for the top of the conference. I don't think they will, but I think they have a shot. If the dominoes fall the right way, they could theoretically challenge for the conference. Maybe.
And that was your number 5 team, right?
Yep.
My number 5 team is UCF. I cannot believe I'm fixing to say this. I'm hopping aboard the Gus bus. Do I think they're...
You're crazy.
No, hear me out. So Gus, more than likely, is going to be calling plays for the offense, right?
Yep.
Do you know the last time that he had a quarterback in the build of KJ Jefferson?
Cam Newton.
Exactly. When he was offensive coordinator in 2010 for Auburn. Cam Newton. Do I necessarily fully trust the Gus bus? No. So I'm not hopping aboard it. I'm watching it zoom by the bus stop. And I'm going to hop in a car and I'm going to follow it up till the crashing point. The possible crashing point, solely for the fact that morbid curiosity. Right? I don't think they're national title contenders. Heck, I don't even think they're going to be playing for the Big 12 Conference Championship. But I think they'll shock quite a bit of people over this one. So, yeah.
I definitely think they could. Mm-hmm. Like I said, I like KJ Jefferson. But I don't know if I like the rest of the team enough to think they could realistically challenge. But it's entirely possible.
I mean... Who else besides Cam Newton and Nick Fairley did that 2010 Auburn team have?
Off the top of my head, I couldn't.
Exactly.
But that was 14 years ago. Oh.
Exactly. You only think about Cam Newton. And Nick Fairley's cheap shots.
That was 14 years ago.
Yeah. Welcome to old age, buddy. Anyways, who's your number 4?
Number 4. Let me preface this. He's going to be healthy. He has to be healthy. Kansas.
Bit higher on them than I am.
He's got to be. He's got to be healthy. He's got to. If he can stay healthy, Kansas is so dangerous.
Oh, without a doubt. It's just the health.
They could realistically be a serious threat in the Big 12 this year if he can stay healthy. And I'm banking on him being healthy, even though I have no proof that he has ever been healthy. I'm gonna hope
and pray.
and pray that he can be healthy. Because who doesn't want to see Kansas win the Big 12?
Oh, that would be amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Legendary.
Yep. Number 4 for me, Iowa State. Obviously the best football team in Iowa.
It's not a high bar.
Best offense in Iowa. Iowa might actually have the better defense. Which is sad. So many amazing defenses wasted.
Yeah.
Anyways,
it's a shame.
What else is there to say that you haven't already said? Matt Campbell always finds a way to win with these more experienced veteran teams. So nothing much else to say on it.
Yeah. Number 3. Oklahoma State.
Okay.
I like Ollie Gordon. I really do. And let me preface this. These next 3 teams are like, they're
interchangeable.
Right there. I mean, it's, yeah. I like all 3 of them very much. I love Ollie Gordon. I think he could have a breakout year.
Mm-hmm.
If anybody's going to win a Heisman that's not a quarterback, I think it could be him. Other than maybe Travis Hunter, if he just has the most ridiculous season ever.
Yeah.
But I think they could have a really good year.
Okay, so no, go on.
Lest we not forget the ageless wonder, Alan Bowman.
Fair enough. So I don't have Oklahoma State at 3. I have them a rank ahead of that. Because at 3, I have Kansas State. Kansas State is one of those teams where you don't ever think of them. You don't. You really don't. But they're always there in the end of the season. Somehow, some way, they have found their way into the conference title game. It does not matter, right? So they find their way into it. So I just think Kansas State's number 3.
Yeah.
I mean, not much else to say.
Yeah. I think we both know who we have at 1. So.
Speaking of being healthy.
I get Kansas State. Yeah, I got Kansas State at 2.
I have Oklahoma State at 2.
Obviously. Yeah. I like Avery Johnson. He's a true freshman last year for Kansas State, obviously. So I think he could be really good with Will Howard, obviously, transferring to Ohio State.
That was a... what the heck?
Yeah, that's a move. So I think, if he can have a good year, Kansas State could have a good year. Obviously, only team that's left, number 1, both have Utah. If Cam Rising can stay healthy, Utah could run away with the Pac-12.
They really could.
Utah with Cam Rising, a healthy Cam Rising, is going to be ridiculous.
Yep. Kyle Whittingham's an amazing coach too. That's a
yes. Lest we not forget Kyle Whittingham.
So, yeah, that's realistically all we got on this one, right? I mean, it's just Utah finds a way. I won't be shocked if. Spoiler alert, y'all! As of right now, they're my pick to be Big 12 champion.
Yeah, me too, 1,000%.
That is what it is. Anyways, sorry if we got a little bit more exhausted, like towards towards the end of this episode. It's kind of late for us. It's a little bit after midnight, so. We're trying. We're doing everything we can. Anyways, you got anything to close us out, Bonner?
Raise hell, praise Dale.
Okay. And remember, guys, follow us on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter. both Any Given Day College, Any Given Day podcast, right?
Mhm.
The
Yep.
college football podcast for your go-to news. And let's see. We need to update the Spotify. We need to do a lot of things still yet. But like Bonner said, raise hell, praise Dale. We'll see y'all on the next episode. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well. Blanking on everything. It's late.